Demo. Do you want to talk about kind of the demo stage, getting dumpsters there, getting things going like that? How does that all work? How long does it take? It's not a real skilled thing to do, so.
No, it's not, but it is very important that, you guys are on the same page. Like right now, I have a project right now where we actually can dump within the city because my contractor and I live in that same city, so we're actually able to dump for free. So my other contractor, he actually has like a 6-acre property where he lives, so all the trees and all the shrubs and stuff like that, I take it to his house and he burns it there. So you don't need to dump every single thing in a dumpster. A lot of the stuff can be reused, resold, or, broken down. And I know this sounds kind of silly, but stacking and filling a dumpster is actually could kill you, because if they don't know how to break things down properly and use every inch of that dumpster, I mean, if you're just dumping cabinets in there and they're not broken down, $500 to $1,000 just because they don't know how to stack a dumpster properly. So little things like that, I think are very important. And when it comes down to the end, that $500,000 could be a big deal to you at the end of the job.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Just order the biggest dumpster, regardless. It's going to cost you $450, $500.
Yeah, just get the biggest one.
Yeah,
sure.
Typically you can have it for a week, 2 weeks. Some companies don't care how long you have it for. I like to do a lot of times, particularly if you don't get a permit for a job. And I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that I get permits for every single job. I don't, but know when you can get away with it, when you can't. Do things up to code. Don't get me wrong. You're doing everything up to code. Make sure it's safe. You're providing a good product, but that doesn't mean necessarily you have to get permits for it, particularly if it's a light rehab. My dumpsters can usually go right in my garage. Nobody sees it. Nobody knows I'm doing any work. My guys can throw things out right there. It's a nice little trick that we do. So, demo the kitchen. So, like Dione said, I try to not keep my cabinets, but I keep them to sell them. People will buy almost anything on Craigslist, I've learned. Have you guys seen that? Like, I once got rid of cabinets that were the most disgusting things ever. They were like literally hanging on screws, and I took them down. I'm like, you know what? I'll just throw them up there. I had like $400 on there. I'm like, if I get 100, I'm thrilled or whatever. I'd be at a couple who came. There was like holes in the back. There was like mold growing on it and whatnot. I'm like, oh, you guys putting these in the garage? And they said, no, it's going in our kitchen. I was like, oh, all right. Yes. Let me help you load these. Get out of here. So that's a true story. I laughed the whole day. But cabinets can be sold. Countertops can be sold. Flooring, you can always save hardwood flooring. You guys do a lot of the old homes. I know, Darren, and you guys do the homes in Lakewood. You've got 100-year-old hardwood floors, right? Those can be refinished, and they're beautiful. They don't make hardwood floors like they used to now. And hardwood floors, we'll talk a little bit about, well, we're running out of time, but those are the kind of things you want to save. Those are things that are the character of the house, particularly dealing with older homes. Keep those kind of unique features. If you can keep old hardwood floors, that's what you want to do. Appliances you can sell, or call scrap guys. They'll always come pick it up. Those take up your dumpster if you throw those out. So you want to avoid throwing out appliances. Walls. Know the difference between load-bearing and non-load-bearing walls. You can't just go in there and just start whacking things down. When you do demo, things should be X'd off in terms of walls of what you're taking out. You do not want to take the wrong wall down, or you can imagine what's going to happen. If you don't know what the difference between a load-bearing wall is, your contractor better know what the difference is, right? It's not difficult to find out. Once you do this business long enough, you know which one it is and which one's not, or you can go up in the attic and take a look and see. If it's supporting
you take out the wrong wall, you'll find out immediately.
Right, yeah. Or just knock something down and run and see what happens. So yeah, that's a good point too.
You'll need a much larger dumpster.
That's in our slide here too. Thank you. Yeah. No, absolutely. Habitat for Humanity is a great story. You guys have Habitat for Humanity, like those resale and restore? So they take in almost anything as long as it's in good shape, and they sell it. You can buy brand new 6-panel doors for like $10 a door. They take casing, trim, sinks, chandeliers. If you're doing a relatively low-end flip, you're doing it for $100,000 or something, buy all that stuff. Buy casing from there. Buy doors from there. Buy your locks from there. It's a great place to be. You'll save a ton of money, and this stuff's brand new as well too. So and you can donate as well to that as well too. They take cabinets as long as they're in good shape.
Yeah, when it comes to bathrooms, we probably save tubs about half the time. And there's a lot of good companies out there that'll reglaze a tub and clean it up and make it look brand new. You just got to know your market. There's markets that's just not worth doing that. You want to do a nice high-end tub and all that. But if you're redoing a house and you're selling for $130,000, it's going to save you time, money, everything with just saving a tub. And when it comes to plumbing, you got to be careful, just like load-bearing walls, not to be yanking out too much plumbing or too much electrical in those spots, because that could make your project twice as hard, because some laborer came in and ripped out too much electric, too much plumbing, and you got to replace all the stuff that you didn't expect to replace. So you got to make sure you're on the same page for sure on what's coming out and what's not.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So baseboards, depending on what your price point is for your flip. Can you keep the baseboards? Can you keep the casing? Can you paint the doors? Do things like that. What can you keep? Older homes, keep things as much as you can. That's the character. That's what people are buying, sort of that vintage look. It's very much in. You can buy pro packs of baseboards, 120 feet for $70. Habitat, we talked about that. Garage doors, if there's dents all over the place, replace it. That's your first thing. That's curb appeal. That's what people see. So if it's dented, just replace it. A single car garage door, insulated, it's going to cost you like $500 to install. It's worth it. Windows. Windows are kind of one of those things that if you replace them, the buyers notice it or don't really notice it. They'll say, oh, they got new windows, but they won't pay you more for it, right? They won't say, oh, you got new windows, I'm going to pay you $5,000 more. If you don't replace them, they do notice it, and they'll take off $5,000. So it's kind of that catch-22 that it doesn't really benefit you to replace the windows. It only hurts you if you don't. Did I say that right? Yeah. So people expect sort of new windows. You have this beautiful rehabbed home, but you have old windows. They're like, why didn't they take the extra steps? And they're going to not pay for that as much as you want for that property. But if you put in new windows, they're like, oh, everything looks great. It's a package. So that's how I mean that it won't necessarily benefit you, but it's going to hurt you if you don't. Roof, if there's 16 years of life left on it or something, and you say, how do I know it's 16 years? Depending on how many layers. You should really only have one layer. 2 is about you don't get any more than 2, right? I mean, 3 is, no, that's all got to be ripped off, But even 2, I don't even like 2. That just screams shoddy work to me. But
3 is legal in many cities, but honestly, when I see a third roof, unless it's brand new, we just tear the whole thing off and start over.
Put yourself in the buyer's shoes. If you roll up and say, boy, that roof it looks like it's screaming for help, chances are you probably want to get a new one. Even if it's not leaking, it's going to be hard to sell something when they look at it and say, well, that needs a new roof. And all of a sudden you're taking off $10,000 off your selling price. Siding, Mark and I talked about this on Tuesday. If you can keep and paint siding, vinyl, aluminum, whatever it is, that they make special paint for that, it'll last for a while. It'll keep nice. And if the siding's in great shape, don't replace it all. Just paint over it. I did a job that we painted the aluminum siding, and it turned out fantastic. So just keep it. Hardwood floors, like we talked about, you can resand it. Most of the time, they can be refinished about 3 times before they really lose their structural integrity, but definitely refinish hardwood floors. You don't necessarily have to put them in new. Costs you about what? For me, it's like $2 a foot to refinish. Is that right? Yeah. So cheap. Looks really nice. Demo, we talked about that. Wood windows, vinyl windows. If they're still in great shape, particularly vinyl, definitely keep them. New windows are $1 an inch, Mark, right? That's kind of like, so take your measurement all the way around, right?
Yep.
So take your measurement all the way around. That's typically what your basic window is going to cost. Lang exteriors, they're out of Chicago, but they'll ship anywhere in the United States. They're great. We use Lang for probably 95% of our jobs, even on the higher end stuff. I mean, they're good quality windows. They have different grades, right, Mark, in terms of what you can get?
Yeah, they're $1 an inch is kind of their basic line, but it's a nice window. But then they go up from there. They have colors and different grades and anything you want, grids. They're a great company, reliable.
Yeah, they got sliding doors as well, too, casement windows, so Lang's a great source to have, so take them down as well.